Yesterday, on the last day of Eagles training camp, the greatest sports record of all time came crashing to an end. What the hell happened? Training camp's over already? Jeez. Phillies actually win a game with small ball and pitching. Go figure. Trending in the AM, we are live talking Eagles, Phillies, the NFC East. We're talking lots of things, anything you want to talk about. We're live with your thoughts and opinions in 60 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody. Welcome to Trending in the AM right here on Edge of Philly Sports. We are live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. You know the drill. Whichever platform you are watching on, make sure you do me that favor. Do me that solid. Hit whatever buttons there are, the like button, the share, subscribe, retweet, follow button. Whichever platform, just do what you got to do to share this show out. Follow this great channel and get as many people interactive with the number one sports morning show in Philadelphia, Trending in the AM. I'm your host, Phil Stiefel. We're still Phillies red. I don't know why. I should have gone back to Eagles green, but Eagles midnight green. But we're still Phillies red. We'll try to put a positive spin somehow on the fact that the Phillies did win a baseball game last night. They did win a game with small ball last night. The Phillies won a game. That's against the Braves. So a very positive night for the Philadelphia Phillies. Everything went well for the Philadelphia Phillies last night, which is all you can ask for. So that's part one of the agenda today. What did the Phillies do right last night? How did they win? And can they find a way to use last night's, in my opinion, very important, very big win as a momentum builder as we go into Game 3 tonight of this very important Braves series? So we are going to talk about that today for sure. Eagles training camp came to an end yesterday. They decided to turn today's practice into a walkthrough. So yesterday was the last official Eagles practice of training camp. And what have we learned about this Eagles team throughout the last 3 weeks of practices? That's what I really want to dive into today. And of course, Jalen Hurts threw his first interception of training camp yesterday. And I ask you, sarcastically, but still, it's fun to joke about, 300 and whatever passes in training camp without an interception. Is it the greatest sports record of all time? What will be broken first? Cal Ripken Jr.'s consecutive game played streak or Jalen Hurts' interception-less streak? Come on, I like to have a little fun, too. So that's on the agenda. But realistically speaking, it's what did we learn about the Eagles throughout training camp? Have we learned anything? Have we gained or lost any confidence in the Eagles team as we're now what? It's Thursday? 2 weeks from tomorrow. So that's 14, 15 days is the first game of the season. So we got preseason on Saturday, which we'll talk a little bit more about tomorrow. We got cut downs. And then we got regular season practice schedules, which we won't get as many updates from the beat reporters and stuff like that because they won't be at practice except for the initial walkthrough portion of it. So have we learned anything? So they're the main topics on the agenda today. I got my baseless hot take of the day already pre-planned for today. And I can't wait to piss some people off with my baseless hot take of the day. First comment in Under the Weather today is Rick, my man. What is up? Under the radar, one of the biggest wins of the season so far for the Phillies yesterday in so many ways. Yeah, I think yesterday's Phillies win, one of the biggest, maybe. It's not just that they beat the Braves. It's not just that they tried to put a stop to any of the Braves' momentum that they were trying to build. If we lose that game, it's a big momentum boost for the Braves. Arcia has that big home run and taunts the Phillies, and it doesn't phase the Phillies. The same bullpen arms that blew it 2 nights ago came in and locked it down last night. You got your 3 runs last night, not by hitting home runs, but by small ball, ground ball, fielder's choice drives in a run, 2 sacrifice flies after getting guys onto third base with less than 2 outs. I remember tuning into Big Al and Company's EOP live show last night, and I heard them, oh, look, they got second and third, no outs, and I instantly comment on the show, I'm sure no runs will score. But they were able to continue and get those runs in. Aaron Nola didn't pitch great, but did just enough to keep them in it. All the things that happened last night are things you can build off of. They're things that you can use as momentum builders as we go into Game 3 tonight, try to win the series as we continue on this tough 2-week stretch of games. We already got the first bet of the day over on the Cherry Bomb. Phil, the Phillies won. Could there be a win that inspired less confidence? I'm trying so hard, Sal, to put a positive spin on the Phillies win last night. I am. I often get told, Sal, that I'm way too negative on the Phillies and I'm way too negative on Rob Thomson. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to try to be positive. I was very happy with the lineup he rolled out there last night. Benching Stott and Marsh. Nick Castellanos up in the 5-hole is smart. Weston Wilson in the 7-hole. Sosa played at second in the 8-hole. Rojas in the 9-hole. I'm very positive of it. And I think the Phillies do have a Weston Wilson problem. Weston Wilson's played himself into playing time. He's earned that playing time. And you've got Hayes, who'll be back shortly from the IL. You traded for him to play every day. Rob Thomson said he'll play every day. You got Rojas, you got Marsh, and you got Weston Wilson. You got four center fielders / left fielders there. And you got to put your best 2 guys out there every day. And right now, Weston Wilson and hypothetically Austin Hayes are your 2 best guys. That means Marsh is riding the pine. And everybody knows I'm a big Brandon Marsh guy. That I'm always very positive on Brandon Marsh. I always want to give him more opportunities. But I don't know. He's not one of your best players right now, so you can't play him. He's kind of unplayable at this point. So we'll see when Austin Hayes comes back from the injured list and when he gets done his rehab assignment, probably be back by Thursday or Friday in the lineup, what they do with the lineup. So, that's where we're at with that portion of it. I still think one win can be something that you build off of in all sports, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, hockey, anything. A win you can build off of a win. You can. But does a win inspire confidence? I put it out there from yesterday's conversation. The poll will continue on for several days, and we'll get the final results in a couple days. But who do you believe in more, Nick Sirianni, Rob Thomson, or Joe Hendry? And oddly enough, we're only about 40 votes in so far. Joe Hendry has as many votes as Rob Thomson does. Nick Sirianni is running away with the poll. What Nick Sirianni has done in camp so far, well, now that camp's over, in the entirety of camp, has inspired more confidence and belief in the Eagles fans than what Rob Thomson is doing right now with the Phillies. And it's definitely what have you done lately for me thing. Rob Thomson hasn't done much lately. Nick Sirianni is far enough removed from last year's collapse where he's winning this poll, hands down. But the fact that the joke of Joe Hendry is equaling Rob Thomson's confidence tells me how little confidence the Phillies have that they can build off of last night's strong win. Phillies aren't built to play the pitcher's dual game. No, they are not. They did last night. Um, and just isn't enough for the money spent on batting. And I don't know what kind of season realistically. I know the stats, but I don't know Max Fried what kind of season he's really having. Max Fried's a really damn good pitcher. So you had one of their best pitchers going up against one of our best pitchers. But they are not built for pitchers' duels. They're not. That's a shame. And I think there's going to have to be questions had after the season, Mista, about all the money spent on this roster to have this many disappointing stretches in a season. This many players not performing up to the level that they are being paid. I did not watch it yesterday. I had a very busy day. Plus, I was training a new employee yesterday at the shop. I will. It is still in my notes. It's there. Maybe tonight when I get home. Maybe I'll try to get it in tonight. I don't know. I'm going to get to it. It's on my agenda list, K1. I will get to the Daryl Morey chess video as soon as I can. Maybe Marsh, big key to yesterday's win. He was a big key to the win. He got the big. Did he get the sack, the tying sack fly or the go ahead sack fly? Hold on here. Let me go through he hit the game winning sacrifice fly. And that's fine. But big picture, are you benching Austin Hayes and Weston Wilson for Marsh? I don't know. I don't know what Rob Thomson does, but I don't have the confidence in Rob Thomson to make the right decision. Whatever decision he makes, I'm going to feel that it's not right, that it doesn't work, that it's not going to work. You know, it's just kind of shocking. Good morning, little G. Hope you are well this morning. Go Birds. As training camp ends and the Phillies season gets closer to the playoffs, you got two Philadelphia teams with huge expectations at different ends of the spectrum of their season. One just starting, one with about 5 weeks left to go. One's 2 weeks from starting, one's 5 weeks from ending. And the confidence on the Philadelphia Phillies, even after one win, isn't very high. But what we've learned from the Eagles during training camp is that we should give them the benefit of the doubt and we should have confidence in them. Yeah, Jalen Hurts threw his first interception. It's funny. It's a funny story. It's, meaningless training camp stats. I guarantee someone on some major network, locally or nationally, is going to have a serious conversation about Jalen Hurts' interception because the Eagles dropped even. It's funny. The Eagles always drop camp highlights. The Eagles actually dropped a camp highlight video of Jalen Hurts' interception, slowed it down in slow motion and everything. I kind of find it comical that they did it that way. And I'm sure if you watch the interception highlight video, it's a really poorly thrown ball. Really easy for Darius Slay to jump the route and make the pick. I'm sure there will be a national media guy or a local major media guy criticizing how bad that throw was and that Jalen Hurts is going to have a disaster of a season. Did you see that interception he threw yesterday? Guarantee it. But in reality, in theory, Jalen Hurts has shown a complete grasp and understanding of Kellen Moore's offense. One that literally a month and a half ago at mandatory minicamp, he said was 95% new. The one thing we never doubted about Jalen Hurts was the out of game work ethic. He's always put the work in during the practices, during the weeks. He's always tried to get better. Do we even see the Phillies trying to get better very often? No. But we have seen that. We've seen the relationship between Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts, at least in front of the cameras, in front of the reporters, look better. And I think that's a positive sign. A lot of signs positive for the Philadelphia Eagles, where even after one very important good win last night, one win doesn't change anything. 9 weeks because they're going to go to the World Series, you're saying, Rick. I wish I had your confidence. I definitely don't have your confidence in the Philadelphia Phillies of making it to the World Series. I don't think it. If I had $100 and I could only make one bet, Phillies going to the World Series, Eagles going to the Super Bowl, I'm dumping my $100 on the Eagles. There's no doubt about that, in my opinion. That's where my confidence is. Randall Cunningham threw 3 picks in a camp I went 2 years back in the day, Nooms. But was it a Westchester? That was like late 80s, early 90s. So I think we were still at Westchester at that point, right? I miss the days of training camp at Westchester or training camp at Lehigh. The videos of the players moving into the dorms for training camp. I miss this stuff. I really do. I really do. It's weird, I don't know. It kind of slid under the radar. Sixers training camp was announced. October 1st is when the Sixers training camp starts. And they're doing the first 5 or 6 days of training camp at Atlantis in the Bahamas. And I'm like, all right, cool. You're all going away for training camp. Grow as a team, bond as a team, work on getting the fundamentals set for the season. But you're doing it in the Bahamas? Man, that's tough life right there. Practicing some basketball, then go run out into the beach and go swimming with some babes. Like, I just not sure where that came from. The Nassau, Bahamas training camp for the Sixers. And only for 5 days. I said, no, I only have one $100 bill, and I can only bet it on one or the other. Phillies going to the World Series, Eagles going to the Super Bowl. I am putting it on the Eagles because my confidence level on the Eagles is here. And I want to say, I know I'm very negative about the Phillies, but the Phillies are still making the playoffs. I joke that they're going to blow it. They're going to lose their lead, and they could lose their lead in the division. They could miss the playoffs. But realistically speaking, I know the Phillies are making the playoffs. Will they succeed in the playoffs? I don't know. My confidence isn't high right now. Yeah, I figured back in the Randall's days, I don't remember when they moved to Lehigh. I'm a little hazy on the when. But I just loved the dorm room, college atmosphere. You got 350-pound offensive linemen trying to sleep in college dorm beds, carrying their box TVs into the dorm rooms. Loved it. I really think there was something special about team bonding when you go away. And it's just the players and coaches locked in a building for 2 to 3 weeks just to get themselves ready for the season. And you very rarely see it. I don't know if anybody around the NFL still does it that way. But they might. I don't know. I'm working on it. I'm working on focusing on the camera more when I talk. I was on Jason Lee from PHL 17, his podcast this week. It dropped last night. Philly Sports Convo with Jason Lee. We talked media in Philadelphia. We talked Phillies. We talked Eagles. We did a lot. And I was rewatching it back, and I noticed how annoying it is. I'm looking at the screen to look at your comments and look at you as the guest if you were the guest. And it's really annoying when you watch it because it looks like I'm never looking. So I'm trying. Today's the first day of a new day. I'm going to try to look right there. That's where the camera is. I'm going to try to look at you guys a little bit more. Try. I guarantee it won't work very well. News for the day. Phil told TMC. Yeah, big breaking news yesterday for the Eagles. CJ Uzomah waived from the Philadelphia Eagles, pretty much solidifying EJ Jenkins, not to be confused with EJ Manuel. EJ Jenkins is your tight end 3 if the Eagles keep 3 tight ends, which I think they will. But CJ Uzomah, who was brought in and everyone expected maybe even to be tight end 2, did not make the roster. Some offensive line, guard center guy Poe, who was with the team in the summer, was brought back, which is important because they have some issues on the offensive line. He'll play probably tomorrow, Saturday night. My sources tell me Hurts threw that interception because he was arguing with Nick Sirianni right before. Oh, okay. Gotcha. There's got to be some kind of drama brought in by the media because of one interception. We all know it's going to happen, mister. We all know there will be drama somewhere on a TV or radio today because of Jalen Hurts. Because why not? Why not? Phil would spread his $100 across multiple guys. Realistically speaking, yes. And I lineups locked shortly. Again, Victor Hovland, Hideki Matsuyama, Sam Burns, and watch out, Will Zalatoris. That's where my money is spent on this week's BMW Championship. Go lock yourself in a bet on one of those guys. If I had to power rank my 4 bets, I'd go Hovland, Hideki, Will Zalatoris, Burns. Go with one of those bets. Let's see if I can get 4 in a row. Content heated up. Look, football season's 2 weeks away. Baseball playoffs are right around the corner. We're only 6 weeks away from basketball training camp starting. We are about 5-6 weeks away from having all 4 major sports on the agenda every day. And I love it. I love it. I live for this. I live for September and October in sports when all 4 sports are playing. Philly's getting the kinks out at the right time, setting up for getting red hot in red October. Rick, again, I'll say it 100 times. I applaud your positivity. I applaud your confidence. I've been broken. I've been beaten, and I've been hurt one too many times. I do not have the same level of confidence. I have hope. I have expectations. There's hope, there's expectations, and there's confidence. And I like the way it is. You got to write that down. Hope, confidence, expectations. That's 3 totally different things that you can have on every sports team. My hope is there with the Phillies and Eagles. My confidence is there with the Eagles, not the Phillies. My expectations are there with the Phillies and the Eagles. So the only thing that's not both equally there is the confidence meter. And I look at since London series and how we've been C-plus baseball team now for 2 months. Not 2 weeks, 2 months. It's not a small sample size. So I need more than 1 win last night. Let's be real, though. The 2022 Phillies weren't playing great ball in September. They had a 3-10 stretch. Yeah, absolutely. I always see, because I always share this show out on Facebook on my personal Facebook page. So every morning I check my Facebook memories, and my Facebook memories from today. I believe they just lost 3 or 4 to the Mets, I think it was, in my Facebook memories today. And that was the topic of the show 2 years ago when my main man Jason and Mark were on the show every day with me. When there was 20 comments a show, not 200 comments a show. When this was more about us talking and not your opinions. Before I came up with the "Where Your Opinions Matter" tagline. So yeah, they did have some stretches. And Zack Eflin to close. Yeah, I kind of wanted Zack Eflin back at the trade deadline this year, low key. Stop doing that, Phil. It freaks me out when you're staring at. Okay, so now hold on. Let me get my eyes extra wide open for you and stare right at you. Yeah, it's weird. It really looks weird, K-Wad, when you're being like. It's one thing for me to not look because I'm doing the comments and stuff like that. But when you have a guest on or you're a guest on a show and you rewatch it, it looks really weird when Jason's looking at the camera. He's asking me questions, and it looks like when you watch it, I'm looking down, and I'm not looking back at him. So I'm going to make a more conscious effort to look at the camera from time to time. Go look at the little blue dot that tells me the power is on. O-line and edge need fine-tuning, but roster absolutely loaded. If it goes bad, Nick is gone. Gonzo. Yes, absolutely. My freshman year of college football, the upperclassmen tried to haze me, but they didn't know I was a crazy Philadelphian. Where'd you go to college again, mister? I forget what you said. You probably said it before. I never really got hazed in college because my college career bounced around. I had a lot of stuff going on personally in college. So by the time I moved into the dorms halfway through my sophomore year of college, I was already gone to be hazed. But I definitely saw some freshman hazing. I definitely saw I wasn't in a fraternity, but I saw some fraternity and sorority hazing. I actually think my college was on the news because of a girl getting really badly injured in a hazing incident at a sorority. So yeah. Let's not forget that the Russian is coming. I said it, all 4 major sports, Freddie Defo. There will be more Flyers talk this year on this show in the season than the last 2 years combined. Maybe the last 3 years combined. Guarantee Matvei Michkov will be discussed regularly on this show. We're going to have a Matvei Michkov tracker on this show. I had good weed, so I was everybody's best friend. Yeah. Old Man Jones is pushing Trey. Rest of roster, terrible. Look, I said I was going to start talking about it today, and it was a thing on one of the radio stations earlier this week. Are the Eagles a lock to win the NFC East? And I kind of dabbled and touched on the topic yesterday. In my opinion, the Eagles, yes, are a stone cold absolute lock to win the NFC East. Why? Briefly, we could dive into each team more specifically if you guys want to talk about any team. Specifically, the Cowboys. Jerry Jones is ruining that team. I mean, they'll probably win 8 or 9, maybe 10 games, the Cowboys, because there is talent on that team if they all show up to play. But there is just as likely as them to win 9 games, I think there is that the Cowboys win like 4 games, and it's a complete and total dumpster fire in Dallas. I really, truly think that there's just as much of a chance as a dumpster fire as an average season for the Cowboys. So that's part one. Part two of the NFC East, the New York Giants. They suck. Their GM is an idiot. Their owner is going to fire him. Brian Daboll's in the worst situation ever. Daniel Jones stinks. The team has not, they spent way too much money on Brian Burns when they're not ready to compete. The Giants might not win 5 games this year. Okay. Part 3 of the division, and in my opinion, the sneaky team that could push the Eagles for the division, the Washington Commanders. Now, the Washington Commanders are going with Jaden Daniels, the rookie quarterback, but they brought in Dan Quinn to be their new head coach, instill some discipline. They still have lots of talent. Brian Robinson. They brought in Austin Eckler. Terry McLaurin is still there. Jonathan Dotson's there. They got a really strong defense. So they're very, very similar to the Houston Texans. Now, everyone's using that comparison. The Houston Texans last year, a lot of talent, rookie quarterback, success. Everybody's doing the same thing with the Washington Commanders. I don't agree. Rookie quarterback seasons like CJ Stroud had last year are very rare. So I can see Jaden Daniels having a good season, but I don't know if they're going to pull off the amount of wins to contend. But I can see the Commanders having 8, 9 wins this season for sure and having something to build for towards next year. But I think the Eagles are going to be somewhere between 10 and 12 wins. I think the Commanders are going to be 8 or 9 wins. I think the Cowboys are going to be anywhere from 5 to 10 wins. I'm not sure yet. And the Giants are going to be like 4 wins. And that's it. I would say that the over-under of Game 6 when Daniel Jones isn't the starting quarterback in Giants land anymore. Watching a lot of Bar Rescue, Philly a lot. That's Phil's land. Well, I mean, I live like 45, 50 minutes from the center of the city. Bryce Huff is a beast. Nonstop motor, going to become a fan favorite in the city real quick. I hope so. I have expectations so. These are the words of the day. Hope, confidence, expectations. I have the hope that he does this. I have the expectations. The confidence, it's a guy that played 46% of the snaps last year in his 4th year in the NFL, never was successful before last year. I hope it wasn't a blip on the radar last year. I hope he can take his game to the next level. That's where I'm up at right now. Still cracks me up. Oh, my God. That whole draft class of quarterbacks was a complete and total, utter disaster. Every single one of them. Yes, I'm saying every single one of them. Complete and total disaster. And Trey Lance stinks. I wouldn't be shocked if Dak Prescott gets benched because, like, they're going to lose games and they're going to bench Dak and start Trey Lance. Somewhere in my mind, that's a realistic possibility. The Eskin phrase curse, stone cold lock. Nah. Look, say what you will about Howard Eskin. Hell, say what you will about Spike Eskin. But I'm just going to throw out a little shout out to Spike Eskin, the younger generation of the Eskin. I don't agree with 98% of what he says, but the guy does a lot to help raise money and get dogs adopted. He's always doing posts and fundraisers and events to get dogs adopted. As a man that has 4 adopted dogs upstairs, adopt, don't shop. It is one of the great things using Spike Eskin's, platform to actually help dogs, get them in homes, keep them from being put down because of the crowded shelters. So shout out to Spike for that again. Daniel Jones. Duh. Good morning. What's up, Joe? Let's talk about the other teams within the NFC East. Bold take from me, Washington Commanders. I'm a little behind on the comments, but I think I just went on a little rant about this exact thing. I think the Commanders are the second best team. Now, I don't know if they can have as much success as the Houston Texans. Dan Quinn, hard-nosed, defensive-minded coach, just like they brought down in Houston with D'Amico Ryans. But I'm not sure, big picture, if Dan Quinn's a great head coach. He's failed as a head coach before. He's a great defensive coordinator. I'm not sure. I'm definitely not as high on Jaden Daniels as I was last year on C.J. Stroud. So I don't think C.J. Stroud will be Trey Lance bad or Justin Fields bad, that draft class bad. But I don't know if he's going to be good. So I think they probably may. I don't know. Their backup is Marcus Mariota. I don't know. But they are going to be the second best team in the NFC. And when I do my I do a record prediction for every team. I do a big graphic. I'll have it done next week sometime, and we'll do it. And I'll leave the Eagles record blank. I'll put them in the position of first place, and we'll add that the following week. But I think the Washington Commanders are the second best team in the division. No doubt about it. I don't know. He won the job, but he was beating out who? Marcus Mariota. So it's not like Jaden Daniels had to beat out Tyrod Taylor or Gardner Minshew. He had to beat out Marcus Mariota. Where am I now? I played college football at Central Connecticut State University in New Britain, Connecticut. Did you know football was invented in New Britain? I did not know any of that. Never heard of Central Connecticut State University. I was to Mystic, Connecticut once for a camping field trip in high school. I've never been to Connecticut since. Probably never will be again, to be honest with you, mister. But that's cool. What division? Was that Division 2? Mitch Koff going to be a superstar in this league if Tortorello doesn't screw him up. Well, I think Mitch Koff's one of those superstars that it doesn't matter who the coach is. He will shine no matter what in any scenario, in any situation. That's my opinion. Commies are Josh Harris's new toy. He will do whatever for interest and attention so that money starts printing so he can get that new stadium built, so he can sell all his advertising dollars, Nooms, and then he won't care. Then he'll move on and buy something else. What he did with the Flyers, or Phillies, or the Sixers. What is up, Mitchie Pooh? MK in the house. Daniels is flavor of the week, but he'll be running for his life when team blitz. Exactly. So, again, I get the Washington Commanders hype. I don't get the Jaden Daniels hype. I think there's a lot of talent on that team outside of quarterback and maybe outside of head coach. The two most important positions in a football organization are your head coach and your quarterback. And they're the two positions that have the question mark. So that's why I don't think they're going to compete for the division with the Eagles. But I think they can compete for the second place spot in the division. They'll miss the playoffs, but they'll be right there come the end of the season. Two opinions. What's up, Peanut? Two opinions. Two things that can derail the season: injury and Sirianni. Which position lacks the most depth in your position? Arguably enough, or oddly enough. First off, I agree. Injury obviously could derail any sports team season. Always, you lose your best player in any sport, any team, you're in trouble. Sirianni is a question mark for sure. Does he keep hands off like he needs to? Arguably, I know there's a lot of depth issues at wide receiver. I know there's a lot of depth issues at safety. But right now, the depth that I'm most concerned about is offensive line. Behind Becton, behind Steen, behind whoever there is at right guard. One of them doesn't work out. One's injured. What if Cam Jurgens goes down? What if Lane Johnson goes down? If Lane Johnson goes down, are we really confident that Fred Johnson is going to start 4 games? I'm really concerned with the depth of the offensive line, because it looks night and day from the starters. And I know no backups are as good as the starters, but you want to see some positivity. And I just don't see it with our offensive line. And I'm really concerned if any of the starting 5 go down, that we're in deep doo-doo. Geno Smith turned out to be the best of the E.J. Manuel draft. Who else was it? I mean, E.J. Manuel, what was he? He went to the Bills, late teens, early 20s of the first round. Geno Smith went in the second round. I mean, he flamed out with the Jets, but definitely rebounded his career. Who else was in the E.J. Manuel draft? That was one of the worst quarterback classes of all time. But yeah, they might have been better. The Cowboys losing Dan Quinn and many other players to Washington will have this defense going from a top 5. Yeah, absolutely. I jokingly said it, Joe, and I haven't really looked at every team's coaching situation, but I look at the NFC East the closest normally because of the Eagles. Mike McCarthy, there's a chance does not make it through the end of this season. He might be one of the first coaches fired this year because that team, and it's not Mike McCarthy's fault. I'm not a Mike McCarthy fan. I think he's a little overhyped, but it's not his fault that the Cowboys are being set up for massive failure. Think of it this way. I mean, Dak, lame duck starting quarterback. CeeDee Lamb still hasn't shown up. You lose Tony Pollard and you bring back 47.8-year-old, 400-pound Ezekiel Elliott to be your running back. Guys, if you're in fantasy football, draft Ezekiel Elliott's backup. Prioritize him 2 rounds higher than his average ADP. I don't know what it is. I haven't done any drafts yet, but prioritize him. Why? Because Ezekiel Elliott ain't going to be the lead back the whole year. You lose Dan Quinn. The Dallas is setting up to be a giant, firestorm down there. Really, really is. Look, Justin Fields is terrible. Adopt, don't shop his way. I say it all the time. Adopt, don't shop. And the second hashtag that I always follow up with, adopt senior dogs because senior dogs need homes as well. But Daniel Jones sucks. Daniel Jones is god awful. Daniel Jones might be the worst non-rookie starting quarterback in the NFL week 1. September and October are the best for sports. 28th, the sports equinox, MLB, World Series. And yeah, absolutely. So an amazing time to be alive. Absolutely. I highly recommend if anybody ever needs a rescue to support or to make donations to or to look into. I've always got lots of them that I always have that I help. I think Dallas is second in the NFC East. They are talented. Even they have to dump a major part of the team. They should still be able to win. In reality, Duck, you're probably right. But I think that there is that potential for disaster this year in Dallas. And I think Washington's going to have an improving year. I don't know. We'll see. Rescue dogs, definitely worthy cause. Absolutely. And you know what? Spike Eskins gets a lot of crap, and rightfully so for some of his sports takes. But Spike Eskin uses his platform. I always talk about it. When you have a platform, whether it's a small platform like I have, or a massive platform like Spike, or a generational platform like a major media guy on like ESPN, you should use your influence and your power and your platform positively. Spike uses his very well for rescues and stuff. So I always love that. The 2-week wait. Yeah, I mean, Eagles. I mean, from after Saturday night's preseason game till Eagles' first game on Friday against the Packers, it's gonna be the longest 12 days there is. It really is. I've got 4 rescues right now. So, yeah, Division I FCS. Okay, we played the colleges like Robert Morris and Monmouth University. Gotcha. Division I FCS. Gotcha. Sorry, I didn't want to knock you down to Division II. Sorry. The wife and I have only have had rescues. We've adopted 2 elderly dogs and gave them a good home for the year. So, hey, look, sometimes those senior dogs, like old man Al, we adopted him in September of 2020. He was 12 and a half. We were told he didn't have much time. He is still kicking upstairs because you give him love. Our girl, Sweet Penelope, she's 13. We've had her for over 2 years. She has a leaky heart. She was ready to be put. We were told your hospice care for her for the next couple of months. 2 years later, she's still up there kicking. Sometimes when you give these dogs love, they find a new reason to live. They're not ready to pack it in. So adopting senior dogs is a very important thing. So a lot of people, those 2 were left at shelters just because they were old. Al had a flea issue, and it scratched his skin raw, and they didn't feel like taking care of him anymore. We fixed his skin. We got rid of the fleas. Penelope, they just didn't want to pay for her heart meds, and I get it. Heart meds are expensive for dogs. I mean, we call Penelope my money pit. And she takes a lot of money out of me every month for those heart pills. But you know what? She's a great dog and she deserves it. Glennon. Mike Glennon. Is Mike Glennon a starting quarterback in the NFL? I don't know. So you played against Sirianni. Didn't he play for Oh, yeah. I wasn't even no, he played for Mount Union, right? Sirianni was Mount Union? Because I thought he played for Mount Union because he played against Mount Union used to go up against my Widener University. Well, now they're called the Pride. I don't even remember what they were called back when I went there. Only time you should shop if you are legit in the dog show biz, and even then, yeah, absolutely. Dallas is always a dumpster fire. They are just like that super hot girl that has just a mess. Yeah. And sometimes that hot mess falls to pieces and ends up in the insane asylum. Dallas can fall apart this year. I don't know if it's likely, but I think it could happen. Sirianni played Division III, Ohio. Yeah, he was. Sirianni was Mount Union, I think it's called. Mount St. Union, Mount Union, whatever. I know when I was in college in the early 2000s, Mount Union was winning every championship. The one year the football team at Widener was good, we got smoked in the second round of the playoffs by Mount Union, like 70-10 or something like that. It's crazy. Oh, I'm sorry. I haven't looked at the blue dot long enough recently. There's too many comments to read. I can't look at the blue dot and read comments. What I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to get a second screen up here. I'm going to have to lift my computer screen up so I can look at the camera and still do all the side things. I don't have a producer, you know. My dog I have now was brought up from Louisiana when a hurricane hit. I went to Tom's River to just look around, and I left with I love it, Mike. Dude, love to read that comment right there. Fantastic comment. He keeps on talking to the coach at Monmouth. Yeah, I know it's in New Jersey. Okay. He's talking, but he's not from Monmouth. Yeah. Monmouth used to be D3. I don't think they are anymore. Man, Phil, you're the man in my book. It's not me. It's all my wife. She does 98.7% of the work while I'm down here doing this kind of stuff. She's upstairs feeding 4 dogs, medicating 4 dogs, walking 4 dogs, doing her thing. Sirianni played at Mount Union. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I thought that was accurate there. Again, I just remember Mount Union whooping up on I think there was talk when I was in college of Mount Union being so dominant in Division III that they talked about moving to Division II. I don't know if they ever did or not, but I know there was that talk when I was there. I stand corrected, Mr. Phil. Yeah, you're right. He doesn't speak to the Monmouth coach. Yeah, Mount Union. I wasn't so sure if it was Mount Union, Mount St. Union, or St. Union. Mount Union, something like that was what I would remember. EJ 16, Geno 39, Glennon 73, Matt Barkley to the Eagles at 98. Stud quarterback, Glennon out-league, Barkley sucked. Barkley, you know what? Say what you want about Barkley. He came from what? USC, I think it was, or Southern Cal. That was USC, I think. Made himself a hell of a career as a back. Hey, there's much worse jobs in the United States of America than being an NFL backup or third string quarterback. I would love to be a third string emergency quarterback. Get paid like $1 million a year, stand on the sideline, never get hit, play 2 preseason games a year, and I'm done. Is there a better job in the United States than the third string quarterback in the NFL? Come on now. Shout out to Mike. Absolutely. Love Mike and hearing those stories. Eye contact Phil is clear. Voice crack Phil. It's not as funny voice crack Phil when I try to mimic it. But yes, eye contact. I'm making eye contact with you right now. That is my goal, is to make more eye contact on a daily basis than I used to. 2 adopted boxer, Pitbull. Yeah, 2 of ours are Pitbull mixes as well. Absolutely. 1,000% accurate on this one. Staffordshire Terrier. I'm not really good with when I see mixes. I have to Google search them most of the time. Well, Barkley will always have a special place in my heart. Yeah. Didn't he play for Buffalo for a little while too? What's up, Bryce Harper? How you doing this morning? We're talking Phillies. We're talking Eagles. We're talking adopting, not shopping for dog. We're talking about 3 key words in sports. And everything we talk about, hope, confidence, expectation. We're talking about the NFC East. My hope is that the Cowboys falter. My expectations are that they are second in the division. My confidence isn't there that happens, though. So everything we talk about today is hope, expectations, confidence. And that wasn't a pre-set up thing. That was just something that kind of came up out of nowhere today, about 10 minutes into the show. And a lot of third and second string quarterbacks that go into coaching. You know, a great career in football by being a third string quarterback, my man. I would take that job, that role in an instant. College division is based on the university attendance. Oh, I thought it had. I didn't know that was the main thing there, but okay. Well, Widener definitely Division III. I mean, there was like 2,300 students at Widener when I went there. I don't know what they're at now. Could have been early first, but went back to college and stunk it up. Yeah, Matt Barkley. Yeah. Bruce, what's up? So Phil, do you feel the Eagles will at least win 11 games? My expectations are they will win 11 games. My hope is they will. My confidence I'm right now sitting. So the over-under on DraftKings that you could bet is 10.5. And I'm sitting right now at 10 or 11 wins. So I don't know. Like, I might say 11 is their max, but I also think 10 is their floor. I think it's pretty good chance that we're a 10, 11 win team, which wins the division in the NFC East. My confidence, hope, and expectations are all sky high that we in the NFC East. Is Robbie pitching today? Let me look. Let me see what's on the schedule for today. Sanchez is listed on ESPN's probable list pitching tonight. Saturday against Kansas City is when there is a question mark at this point, just so you know. But what isn't a question mark is SherryTickets.com, the premier ticket resale company there is on the market. Great prices, no hidden fees, family owned and operated since 1946. Whether you need sports tickets, concert tickets, theater tickets, you name it, they've got it. Price you see is the price you use, or your price you pay. Use promo code EOP10 at checkout. It saves you an additional 10% off over the already VCP great prices. Again, SherryTickets.com, promo code EOP10. There was segue one of the day. Barkley could have been a contender. He could have been a contender. Eagles 12-5. I will give you my record prediction Monday. VCP, that's twice in like 30 seconds. Monday, before the Eagles' first game against the Green Bay Packers. I don't make my prediction for the Eagles till Monday. We will go game by game on Monday's show. I think that would be Labor Day, actually. The Labor Day show will be a game by game prediction on the Philadelphia Eagles. Do you think Lane's sack stat is skewed due to Jalen? We talked about this a little yesterday on the show, or 2 days ago, didn't we not? Maybe you weren't you're listening on the show. We talked about it. I find the Eagles' pass protection slightly overrated over the last couple of years because Jalen Hurts' ability to scramble makes the offensive line numbers look better than they actually are. There's no doubting their ability to run block, but I've said it since day one. The entire offensive line looks better. And they looked bad last year, or worse last year, because Hurts was injured and wasn't able to scramble. Lane Johnson gave up a sack or two last year. Not trying to knock Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson is one of the greatest offensive linemen of all time, one of the best Eagles offensive linemen of all time. In my opinion, a surefire Hall of Famer, Lane Johnson. But his 200 million straight snaps without a sack, slightly skewed because of Jalen Hurts. Barkley had his shots. I think the Eagles will win the division, be second or third in the NFC before the playoffs. Yeah. I don't think any team in the NFC in general is going to run away and win 14 games or 13 games. I think the Lions are going to be right around 11 wins. Eagles are right around 11 wins. 49ers around 11 wins. You'll have a couple other teams in that. You'll have a lot of teams in that 9 to 10 win range. I don't think there's going to be one or two teams that are 14-3 and then everybody else. I think it's going to be a lot more competitive NFC East or NFC this year. At least we came back to win against a good team last night. Yeah, look, the bullpen that's been struggling pitched well. Hoffman had a good outing. Strom pitched a clean inning. Kirkring got them through the 8th. No harm, no foul. Estevez got into a little trouble, but got out of it. I mean, Estevez, being the closer of the Phillies, fits right in Philly, giving us heart attacks every time he goes out on the mound. Oh, on the flip side, former Phillies, Craig Kimbrell, Sir Anthony Dominguez, blowing it every single night in Baltimore. Gotta love to see that. Did you know pit bull breed was started in England? They started the breed to help farmers control their bulls, hence the name pit bull. I learn something new every day, mister. Not sure if that'll stick in my brain. We're going to put that in the back recesses of my brain. Agreed. I don't know if I'll remember that as useless knowledge or not, but no games for the Phillies right now till the last game should not be a bullpen game unless of injury. Yeah, I agree with that. Get in there, Rock. Yep. I wasn't here. Oh, okay. So, yeah, we were talking about the offensive line, how I definitely feel like it's skewed a little bit because of his running ability, for sure. I just think their pass blocking is brutal. It's awful at times. For sure, in my opinion. And I've been saying this slightly and quietly for years. And the other day, I spent a good 15 minutes on the show discussing this very topic, Mike. So, yeah, I agree to it. I think the Niners are going to regress because they've got some internal issues with Brandon Ayuk and Trent Williams and whatnot. Yeah, I think they're going to regress a little bit. But I don't think they're going to regress to the point where they're not one of the three best teams in the conference. And I think the Lions regress a little bit too. The Lions are a good up-and-coming young team. But how good is Jared Goff really? So we'll see. But I still think the Lions win that division. I know everybody's a lot of hype on Green Bay. I'm not buying the Green Bay hype. I think they're the second best team in that division. I think it's going to go Lions, Packers, pains me to say it, Bears, and then 3, the Vikings. I think that's how that division plays out. Esteves fastball is way too straight right now. Yeah, he's really scary watching him pitch. Like I knew of Esteves. I'd seen him blow a save against the Phillies when he was with the Angels earlier in the year. But when you watch him every night as part of the Phillies, I don't understand how he has the season he's having. Because something just, like, he doesn't look the eye test. I always talk about eye test. The eye test doesn't sit with me. Now, I don't know. I don't know how he's got 22 saves on the season. Also know what happened to Phil's glasses. I wear them every day to drive, K1. Every day. But they're for far away driving. They're not for up close. And whether I wear them or not, I can still barely see. They don't help me see the screen. They don't help me. They don't hurt me. So I just don't wear them. I leave them in my car because if I leave them in my car, I never forget them for driving. If I take them in and out, bring them down here, then I get in my car and I back out of the driveway and I'm like, shit, I don't have my glasses. So I just leave them in my car all the time. I think the Niners will really regress this year. So who's going to win the division then in the NFC West? The Rams possibly. Don't give me the Cardinals. The Cardinals stink. I don't care that they got Marvin Harrison. Kyler Murray's terrible. The Seahawks, nah. So I still think the 49ers neck and neck with the Rams to win that division. I was watching a bunch of the national sports show. A lot of them have the Eagles' serious regression and not making the playoffs. Yeah. I don't understand why anybody thinks the Eagles will regress. They've added Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio to their coaching ranks. They added Saquon Barkley. They drafted Quinion Mitchell and Cooper Dejean. Can we talk about Cooper Dejean for a second and his comments yesterday after the last practice where he can't wait to play in Saturday's preseason game because he hasn't really, truly hit anybody since November of last year when he got injured in college? Like, I love it. The guy just wants to get out there and hit somebody. That's the kind of personality and attitude that we miss on this Philadelphia Eagles defense. But yeah, I don't know how you can stare at a camera like this and say, I think the Philadelphia Eagles will regress and miss the playoffs this year. How can you say that with a straight face and not laugh? It makes no sense. I think Goff is a very interesting quarterback discussion because he's taken a team to the Super Bowl in the Rams. He almost took the Lions to the Super Bowl. He's a good game. Like, when you talk about game managing quarterbacks, there's not many of them better than Jared Goff. Jared Goff's not ever going to throw for 5,000 yards. He's never going to throw for 40 touchdowns. Doesn't matter how much talent is on the team. But he's also very rarely ever going to put you in a position to be a 4-12 or 4-13 team. He's always going to be just good enough to keep you in it. But he's never going to do anything extra to win you the game. You better have a great defense. You better have a great offensive line. You better have great weapons for Jared Goff to even be solid. But I don't think he's bad. And I still, to this day, I think both the Rams and Lions won that trade. Like, it was an equal trade in the end. But I kind of feel still to this day that the Rams did him dirty. He takes you to a Super Bowl, and then a year later, you cut him or trade him. You can't, but you can. It sounds like contradictory, but it's true. Rams looking good. I think they carry over from the end of last season. Yeah, if anybody will push the 49ers, it'll be the Rams in that division. The John and Brown seem to be cut from the same type of cloth. They just want to hit and hit. Now, I talked about a lot last year, leading up into the season, Duck, and early in the season. That Sidney Brown had to learn how to throttle down, etc., at times, and not overblow a play and run through a tackle and stuff like that. I don't know if Dejean's like that because we haven't seen enough of him. But they might be your starting two safeties in 2 years. Well, no, Dejean's going to be more of a cornerback, but they might be anchors on this defense. Our defenses could be anchored by Dejean, Sidney Brown, and Quinion Mitchell for the next 5 years. And I love it. Dejean's got that hitting. Sidney Brown's got that energy. And Quinion Mitchell's got that dog in him, trash-talking A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith every practice. So if you had glasses in studio, we couldn't tell if you were looking at the camera or not. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Phil, I feel Kyler Murray is better than Jared Goff. No. Kyler Murray, I mean, we'll put it up. Let's see. Where's my graphic from earlier this offseason? Here was my ultimate 2024 quarterback ranking list. Where was Kyler Murray? 18. Where was Jared Goff? 10. And I don't feel bad about putting Jared Goff at number 10 on this list. I really don't. Not at all. I don't feel bad about that one bit. Kyler Murray is the most overhyped quarterback in ages, in my opinion. The Eagles are loaded with great talent. If the other teams are better than the Eagles, then I salute them. Yeah, that's a great statement right there. NFC East, Eagles, North, Lions, South, Falcons, West, San Francisco. I mean, that seems like the most obvious, easy way to answer all four divisions. It really does, Michael. It really does. And I do a big graphic with all my predictions every year. We'll see how it ends up when I do it. But there's a good chance that this is how it plays out for me. Eagles better every position except O-line, which was – it wasn't suspect last year in the running game. They were still a great running team. They were still a top 5 ranked offensive line. It was just not elite. And they're still good in it. They're just questionable in it. A piece of advice, put a small red dot above your camera and work on looking on that. It will make us think you are looking at the – well, there's a blue dot on it right now. It's the power button. And I'm trying to look. I'm making a conscious effort today, and I've never done this before, to look directly at the camera. When I was again, go look up, guys, Jason Lee, Philly Sports Convo. I was on it. We talked about Mikey Miss, which Mikey Miss is on my agenda to talk about briefly here today, about the media in general. I'm looking at the camera. And I noticed when I was rewatching the Jason Lee episode yesterday, when he dropped the episode he recorded with me on his YouTube channel, Philly Sports Convo, that I never looked back at him. And it looks like I'm not talking to him. And it bothered me. So I'm going to make a conscious effort to stare at the camera more often, especially when I've got guests on, and especially when I go on other people's shows. Yeah, exactly, K1. That's a Buffalo Bills fan talking right there. We need to get some more young talent on the O-line. Yeah, I think what did Lane Johnson say yesterday? I think he's got 2 to 3 years left in him. Yeah, next draft, Duck, I would be shocked if the first-round pick next year isn't a tackle. The replacement. We've been constantly working on replacing Kelsey for the last 2 years, first Dickerson, then Cam Jurgens. Now we got to start working on replacing Lane Johnson in the next draft. 100% Freddie Burns. Avonte Maddox is making this squad because he can play safety. He can play slot cornerback. I did my predictions for the 53-man roster. One has already come true because I predicted E.J. Jenkins, not C.J. Uzomah, making the roster. Avonte Maddox is making it. I even slotted him on my 50. Well, no, I had him slotted in safety, and I moved him back up to cornerback. He is making the squad. In my opinion, it's a lock almost at this point. It's hard for Murray to succeed at that height. Absolutely. But Jalen Hurts isn't the tallest guy in the world. My sources tell me that Patrick Mahomes and Carson Wentz are clashing in KC. The players are taking sides. Oh, my God. I would defer to you, K1. Hurts was under duress when I watched. He was under duress a lot. Pick Scotty Scheffler on top of that camera. Yeah, is that what it is? Now, right now, it's Hideki. put a picture of Hideki up on the camera, and I'll never stop looking at it. AFC East, Jets, maybe. That's debatable. North, Bengals, nope. Ravens, probably. South Texans, probably a lock. West Chiefs, lock. I got to disagree with you on the East and North here. I'm not sure yet on the East. Could be the Jets, could be the Dolphins, could be the Bills still. The North probably is down to the Bengals and the Ravens for me. I'll probably go Ravens. Texans will lock, and the Chiefs are a lock, in my opinion. We'll see how it plays out when I put that graphic up next week. Are you asking if the Phillies won the game? Phil, why are you so negative? Yeah, exactly. I'm always negative. I can't set up the show at 11 o'clock at night. I couldn't say Phillies won or Phillies beat the Braves. I had to make the title of the show, Did They? So I make up these shows at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I think Bears may take a while. I agree with you on that. Caleb could be good, but not this year. Falcons will probably fall apart because of the amount of money they have in just the quarterback. Yeah. I see a lot of people hyping up the Falcons. I just don't know. How can anyone be hyped about a Kirk Cousins-led team? Don't care about the talent around them. Kirk Cousins had Justin Jefferson, the best wide receiver in football. They don't win anything up there in Minnesota. So I don't know why you could be so hyped about the Falcons. Problem is, the division stinks. The Saints are average at best. The Bucks are average. Maybe I'll pick the Bucks to win that division. I don't know. They're just terrible division. Carolina's awful. Absolutely correct. Watson done. Deshaun Watson, I have no idea what's going on with Cleveland. Blue dots don't work. Red, for some reason, makes our human lizard brain stare at it. Interesting. That's some psychological BS right there. Steen going to be an impact player on the O-line ever. Ever? Let's go back to my words of the day. Hope, confidence, expectations. The expectations are Steen becomes an impactful player. The confidence isn't there. And I hope he is, but I doubt it. If anyone can fix CW and resurrect his career, it's Arizona. Or it's Andy Reid, sorry. Carson Wentz, resurrected his career, it's Andy Reid. Imagine if came back here, won the Super Bowl, and got a new nickname. Yeah. I was on the EJ Jenkins train too. Yeah, absolutely. It's doubtful, but they're going to be under some really tight pinches with certain guys they really like on the 53-man roster. And they have done it before where they've only kept 2 in the last 6 years at tight end coming out of training camp. Now, EJ Jenkins probably could get pushed to the practice squad, and you can elevate guys from the practice squad every week. There's a scenario, not likely, but there's a scenario where they want to keep an extra cornerback or an extra offensive lineman or whatever, and they cut EJ Jenkins, pick him up onto the practice squad, and then bring him up for a couple weeks. Remember, they did that last year with Britton Covey for a few weeks. Britton Covey didn't make the roster. He was put on the practice squad and elevated for a few weeks. And then they were forced to add him to the roster. So I could see a similar scenario to start the season with the Eagles and EJ Jenkins. It's not likely, but it could happen. I live 3+ hours from Buffalo, but I grew up and lived in Philly for 39 years and been in upstate my 6th. Yeah, gotcha. Steen only ever played left tackle. He's probably destined to back up Mailata. That might be a fair statement there, K1. And you got to have good backups on the offensive line. Right now, that's my problem. We don't have good backups at certain positions on the offensive line. So it's the Steen scenario. Don't look at the camera. Your eyes are scary looking. I don't know if you guys can see it, but when you look at my eyes, they're scary looking. I got big-ass bags, always have bags under my eyes. But also, my pupils are always different sizes. I got hit with a baseball in the face, broke my orbital in 4 spots like 17, 18 years ago, and my right pupil is permanently smashed. That's why I wear the glasses, because my right eye can't see as well. I was literally hit square in the face, knocked me out, had to have surgery. They almost took my eye out and put a glass eye in there. But if you zoom in, you'll see that my right pupil is always bigger than my left pupil because it was smashed. Reddick been all around the world, but the Jets facility. I love it. I love it. Do the Jets do it with or without Reddick? I don't know. My confidence, my concerns with the Jets aren't Hassan Reddick. It's Aaron Rodgers. I'm not concerned though if I need to book a trip to follow my favorite sports teams I always book with the best company to travel and support my team on the road, phillysportstrips.com. Obviously, the trip to Brazil is sold out. Brazil, week 1 against for the Eagles versus the Packers. But they have so many great tailgate and travel trips, bus, planes, you name it, they got it, to see any of your favorite Philadelphia sports teams. All the great Eagles trips, Tampa Bay, New York to see Saquon go home. I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Baltimore, bus trip to Baltimore, the newest horror movie there is. And F Dallas Week, November 10th in Dallas. Guys, phillysportstrips.com. Sign up on their website. Make sure you mention EOP trending in the AM when signing up with them, guys. They are the best. Don't miss them. We definitely hit the over, FYI. And I got so many comments to catch up on before I even get to the over. My bad. I thought you were saying, did the Phillies win or did the Braves fumble? No. Yeah, we're officially over. I don't even know what the over is anymore. What's the over-under anyway? The Phillies suddenly have won 5 of their last 7. Is the sky still falling? Absolutely, it's still falling. 4 of those wins were against bad teams. The one loss against the bad teams was dreadful. The other loss against the Braves, dreadful loss. Last night was a good win, Fred. I'm more than willing to admit last night was a very good win. Even if Steen ends up being a rotational piece, it was worth where he was drafted. A good rotational player who you could trade. Absolutely, yeah. Kellen Moore loves him some 12 personnel too. He does. And that's why EJ Jenkins probably makes the team and doesn't get bumped down to the practice squad. But just throwing it out there. Grant Calcaterra has been out with a concussion for, it feels like, 2 weeks now. So he probably makes the team. But there is a scenario playing out in my mind where he doesn't. Nick Sirianni is a foster dad. What? Okay, I don't know what that comes from. EJ Jenkins, I think, was on one of the nice surprises from preseason. Absolutely agree with you on that. Has hit the over for a full week. Those odds are crazy. Yeah. What's up, Patty Bernard, the Gobbler? What you eating today, Patty Bernard? What's on the menu today for the Gobbler? What a segue, dude. There's no segues. Today's segues weren't my best so far. The analytic department is going nuts. They have no idea what to set the line at. Well, just wait till like one day later this week or next week when I go like 30-minute mark and I hit like the under by a mile. Reddick is hoping that the next team he latches on will pay all the penalties the Jets are. Yeah, absolutely. That's nice. The kid named, or sorry, not sorry. So knowing more like 12-man, then you know we are keeping 3 tight ends. Absolutely agree. The analytics department knows we're degenerate gamblers. Well, if you ever get into gambling problem and you need a lawyer to help you get out of it, I don't know if you can do it, but knowing he's the best workers' compensation lawyer, motor vehicle accident lawyer, personal injury lawyer, criminal law lawyer in the business, you get into some trouble. I'm sure David Archerry can help you with your gambling problems as well. David Archerry, Cherry Law Firm. Go to their website, cherryinjurylaw.com, 610-565-0300. Make sure you mention Trending in the AM, Edge of Philly Sports, when you talk to him. But again, he is the best, and he's going to fight for you and get you what you deserve. So again, give him a call, 610-565-0300, or go to cherryinjurylaw.com and let him get you what you deserve right there. There we go. There's your cherry bomb for the day, guys. You're watching Trending in the AM right here on Edge of Philly Sports. Hit that like button, that share button, that subscribe button, that follow button. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, wherever you're watching, live or on replay, hit those buttons. Help share this show out. Help grow this channel and this show. I greatly appreciate it. Edge of Philly Sports would greatly appreciate it. We'd all greatly appreciate it because there is 7 day a week of fantastic programming on this channel. Later today, Football Stories Live, Philadelphia Sports Disorder, Fly Like an Eagle with Mitchie Poo, and Philly's post-game show after the game today. 7 day a week programming. You can't miss it. You don't want to miss a minute of the action on this kick-ass channel that I'm very proud to be a part of right now. The Eagles' pass blocking, I believe, will be better, especially if Moore is implementing more 3. That actually helps a lot in the pass protection. If you only got to block for 3 seconds versus 5 seconds, Michael, obviously it makes it a lot easier. Very important. It obviously does. It's pretty simple. Pretty simple. One final sponsor of the day. No segue. We're just going to get it out of the way here. We're about 20 minutes left in the show. So make sure you guys check out, if you're in the Delaware County area, Ridley Park region, go check out Dolan's Bar in Ridley Park, 24 East Sellers Avenue, Ridley Park. For 65 plus years, they've been the quintessential Irish American dive bar in Delaware County. Great food, great times. PJ and his crew do a kick-ass job there. DolansBar.com. You can find them on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, guys. Check them out. Make sure when you go in there, you tell PJ and the crew, EOP, Trending the AM. Tell them you want to see an EOP Trending in the AM, a live broadcast sometime in the coming weeks. Maybe we get that to happen. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. I want to do – it's really hard to do live broadcasts with a morning show because the show starts at 8 a.m. A, what bars are open at 8 a.m.? B, to get somewhere and be live by 8 a.m. Shit, I'd have to wake up at like 5 o'clock in the morning. I wake up at 6:30 and I barely get set in time. So if I got to travel somewhere and set all the equipment up somewhere, be a tough one. But meet me. We'll see. I don't know. Someday we'll find a live morning show remote broadcast somewhere. We'll see how that works out. But anyway, guys, what are we talking about for the last 15, 20 minutes of the show? Eagles, I can't believe camp is over. Okay, I just can't. It's flown by, training camp. That's one. Part two of the conversation today. Jalen Hurts' first interception was thrown. Is Jalen Hurts' training camp interception record the greatest record in the history of sports? And what will be broken first? Jalen Hurts' camp interception record or Cal Ripken Jr.'s consecutive games played record? I'm not sure. It's neck and neck right now. Phillies won a game last night. Is that minor little win something that could be built off of? There are things that we're talking about today. I got one other thing to mention, but I want to read these comments. Moving to a night gig and name it Trending in the PM. Well, I used to have a night show before I started the morning show. It wasn't Trending in the PM. It was called Trending for 4 quarters. And we would do 4 different segments, a baseball, basketball, whatever, have guests and stuff like that. But yeah, I hate doing evening shows because then I miss Phillies games. I miss Sixers games and stuff like that. And I like to be consistent with my time. So if I say I'm going live every day at 9 p.m., I do. And then we get distracted by sporting events. Maybe someday when I don't have a pizza shop, we might do a Trending in the AM and then we'll do a nightly watch along Trending in the PM. I don't know. Someday. That's why you hit subscribe. You never know. You never know when Phil's going to pop up. That's why you subscribe also to my personal channel, linked below, Joe. Because someday, somewhere, I might just pop up on my personal channel. I also believe the Eagles are going to get back to running the ball first to open up the passing game. I agree. You don't give Saquon Barkley nearly $40 million to not give him the football. Plain and simple. That's right. We did get a little 4-leaf clover. I would totally be worth it to see a live 8 a.m. show from a dive bar. Yeah. I would be drinking Bloody Marys. Bloody Marys and football talk or sports talk. I mean, there's a name in there somewhere. Could we come up with a name for a show, Bloody Marys and sports or something like that? I don't know. But yeah, I would do it. Just got to schedule. It's got to be planned out well in advance. One last thing. If you can't adopt the pet, please donate to your local. Absolutely. Even a $5 donation to a local shelter matters. It helps. I know Philly Bully, who we adopted Old Man Al from, they had to shut down operations temporarily because they've just taken in too many cases. And they've got $80,000 in vet bills right now that they're trying to catch up on. So they take in all the damaged dogs, all the ones that are really in beat up shape, and they bring a lot of them back. And they become Old Man Al was one of them. So donate, even if it's just $5. It's great. Phil has a pizza parlor. Evenings are money. I close at 8 o'clock during the week. I could do a 9 o'clock show. And the goal is to not have a pizza parlor someday. The goal is to do this full time someday. But you got to watch who you work for when you're doing this full time. So I don't know. We talked on the Jason Lee Philly Sports Convo about Mikey Miss being back on the airwaves and stuff like that. And yesterday afternoon, an article came out from Crossing Broad. I don't know if Kevin Kincaid or Pagan, Chris or Nick, whatever. I don't know who wrote the article, but it detailed Mikey Miss's breakup with Jacob Media. And Jacob Media is another online big national, bigger brand, kind of like All City. They got all the big names over there. It's also where Dan Sillyman runs his show. And they put a lot of money into it. And I thought it was going to be an alternative to the radio. It turned out just to be an extension of the radio. But there's a lawsuit going on between them because he hasn't been paid over $65,000 in his salary. So it matters who you work for. But it's not just the pay. And first off, anybody that works for months without getting paid, you're an idiot. If I don't get paid one time, I'm done until I get caught up on pay. Still somebody that owes me some money out there. Anyway. How Mikey Miss kept working without getting paid, I don't know. But the thing is, whoever it is, the founder of, I forget his name off the top of my head, the founder of Jacob, went out there, shared the Crossing Broad article, and called Mike Missinelli, just said all these awful things about Mike Missinelli. That's the kind of front you want as the known founder, owner, CEO of Jacob Media. You got to think about what you put on social media. It just made his already crumbling brand look even more of a joke. I used to do a show at the Crazy Leprechaun Bar in Port Richmond in Philly, as a friend of mine owns it. I don't know what Crazy Leprechaun Bar, I don't even know where Port Richmond in Philly is. But if you have your people, reach out to my people. Maybe we can make something work. If we could plan it out, maybe we could do an Eagles pregame, halftime, and postgame live show from the bar. Have your people reach my people. I'm always game for something fun. Agreed. We saw a box of pet food that was at 50% off and purchased for the. Absolutely. You got to do things like that for sure. Bloodshot eye contact in the AM. I like it. Adopting our dog was one of the best things we did in our life together. Absolutely agree. People can say what they want about him, but the Phillies lineup can use Buddy Kenny's plate discipline, not unlike 06 Cards. X signs. Okay. Where is the base? Oh, I got one. Okay. Do you want my basis? Let me catch up on the comments. We'll get the basis hot takes. I got one print. I donate a bag of food once a month. Hey, I love hearing that, Mike. That's fantastic. I buy like 400 bags of dog food for 4 dogs a month. Thanks, Duck. You are too. Yeah, guys, you guys are awesome. The wife is a good person in the house. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. My wife's the one. She's the winner. Right next to Fishtown. Gotcha. All right. You guys want my baseless hot take? We'll get back to Mike Missinelli comments in a second. My Skip Payless hot take of the day. It's almost fall. It's still summer, but it's almost fall. And what does almost fall mean? Every picture at every coffee shop, every food store, every Wawa, pumpkin this and pumpkin that, and pumpkin spice this and pumpkin flavored that. Hot take of the day, pumpkin flavored shit sucks ass. Plain and simple. Dude, it's mid-October. Dude, on July 5th, I saw Halloween decorations out at the local Big Lots in my shopping center. Guys, it's not fall yet. It's not pumpkin time yet. It's not Halloween time yet. Now, I know my wife will strongly disagree with this hot take, but oh my God, can we stop with making everything pumpkin? Dude, we don't need pumpkin. Pumpkin pie is all you need. I don't even like that because I hate pumpkin. We don't need pumpkin coffee. We don't need pumpkin crimpets. We don't need pumpkin muffins, pumpkin pizza. Someone tried to ask me to make pumpkin mushroom soup at my pizza shop a few years ago. No, we don't need pumpkin everything. Pumpkin sucks. Pumpkin is the worst flavored thing in the history of the world of all time. And that is my Skip Payless hot take of the day. And back to this. All right, Mike Missinelli needs to have a meeting with Don Corleone. He'll give Jay. Yeah, absolutely. I'm surprised he didn't. Mike Missinelli strikes me as a guy that probably has a few connections with the Corleone family. I tried getting to Crossing Broad a minute ago and couldn't get to it. Interesting. Look, Crossing Broad, Kevin Kincaid's been very supportive of me and my work. He's been a guest on my show in the past. We've butted heads in the past a few times as well. Some of their stuff is cool. Some of their stuff is weird and crazy. But they found a niche, especially with their Radio Wars articles, and some of their tailgate, videos and clips and articles, which is fun. But they're not a real journalistic site. They do great union coverage, actually. Jacob is a racket run by that AC casino, maybe. When Jacob first came out years ago, Like, this is something interesting. A new big brand. They're bringing in all these guys. I didn't understand the business of media yet at the time, but they pumped that. It's my fear with PHLY, All City, and the Philly connection, that they're bringing in all these big names, and do they have the money? Now, there's articles that because they have 4, almost 5 cities that they're able to do it, Jacob being just in Philly, it's a struggle. Jacob won't be around, in my opinion, in a year or two. And if they are around, it'll be run by people like me, no names, that don't need a lot of money to do this, because they're running out of money there at Jacob Media. Pumpkin spice sucks. No truer words have ever been spoken in the comments section. Phil, keep being the voice of reason on pumpkin spice and the addiction. I hate it. 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 Now this is something I can get behind, Freddie. Defoe. Pumpkin spice, or not pumpkin spice, Oktoberfest beers. Oddly enough, my favorite Oktoberfest beer is not any of the, craft Oktoberfest. Not even Sam Adams Oktoberfest. Yingling, their Oktoberfest, which is a very short, not many cases made every year, is actually my favorite Oktoberfest beer. Mike Miss strikes me as a dude that calls people on their BS and is disliked because of it, but his own temper glass houses him. Yeah. Look, me and Mikey Miss, he's blocked me, not because of anything I ever did, because of a guilty by association thing. Still waiting for somebody to reach out to him and tell him to unblock me. I would love to get Mikey Miss on this show. Mikey Miss and I did bang heads a decade ago over the Martin and Richie Incognito bullying incident. As a man that was bullied when he was a child, I was trying to stand up. We battled. Anyway, whatever. But Mikey Miss in general is probably one of the more realist sports talkers on the radio. And, I talked on the Jason Lee, podcast about, whether the Fanatic made the right decision bringing him back or not, et cetera, whatever. Maybe a little bitterness that I'm not on the Fanatic and he's back on the Fanatic. I don't know. Eye contact. Absolutely. The hot take will always be eye contact. Always now. Always. Where I live in upstate New York, they make a food staple called Chicken Speedy. It's chicken cut up in chunks and marinated in Italian dressing. I still don't eat it and don't see the hype. Italian dressing is like the simplest marinade for chicken. I do use it. Like if I buy chicken, I forget to buy a marinade for it. I just go into my pizza shop kitchen, grab some Italian dressing, and pour it over the chicken. That's an easy, simple marinade. Not the best, but not the worst. Oktoberfest is the real ringing in a fall. Absolutely. Media business is all about reach. Absolutely agree with you on that. And you would think Jacob had a good enough reach not to fall behind on their bills. I mean, All City is already past Jacob Media. I call them All City, which is their bigger name, over PHLY, because I just feel weird saying PHLY. It just doesn't ring a bell. The Yingling Oktoberfest, however, disloyal. I've never been a Sam Adams fan, Freddie. Years and years ago, they came out with a Christmas beer called White Christmas. And I'm not big into the Christmas beers. Too much nutmeg and spices in their beers. But this White Christmas from Sam Adams came out, and it was amazing. And I went, the beer distributor's like, oh, this is it. This is the last thing. I bought like 4 cases of it when it was the last. The next year came out, I loaded up on it. And then Sam Adams came under fire for calling a beer White Christmas. So they came out, so they adjusted the formula, and they changed to like the winter. It's not winter lager. That's a different beer. They came out with a new, more generalized holiday-themed beer. And it wasn't the same as White Christmas. The taste was different. The name was different. And I lost a lot of respect for Sam Adams. They want to call it White Christmas? They should have just kept it. It was a 1-month production beer. It was damn good. And since that was the only Sam Adams beer I've ever liked. Also, another big food thing when I live, hot dogs with meat sauce. I don't see the hype. Yeah, I don't either. Winter brews. Yeah, like everyone goes freaky crazy every year when the latest batch of White Elf or Mad Elf comes out. I think it's by Trogs Brewing. Everyone freaks out over Mad Elf. Dude, it is the most disgusting beer I have ever seen. Michael, I have suggested this. We could even do it at Dolan's Bar or your friend's Lucky Leprechaun Bar. Wing Bowl resurrected by EOP. And of course, who hosts Wing Bowl? The greatest morning show host of all time used to host it. Now the best morning show host of all time could host it. I'm telling you. I brought this up to Big Al. Wing Bowl returns. Hosted by EOP. I wouldn't participate in it. I wouldn't eat the wings because I could never eat that many wings, but I think it can happen. Anyway, guys, we're into the final few minutes of the show here. Keep the comments rolling. It's okay to keep them going. But yes, Eagles training camp is ending. Tomorrow, special guest. Join us for the final 25 minutes of the show tomorrow. Brendan Deeg from The Score. He writes Eagles content, does a lot of great stuff. He'll be joining us to talk Eagles tomorrow, get his takes on Eagles training camp and who he's looking for in the Eagles preseason finale. Is there anybody that could earn a roster spot in the final preseason game? So we'll talk about that with Brendan Deeg tomorrow. We'll also continue Eagles talk. We'll talk Phillies, of course. Who knows what else will come up? I'm in for Wing Bowl. If I host it, Wing Bowl returns. I don't know if Wing Bowl is like copyrighted or not by WIP. So we might have to change the name. Bowl Wing. I don't know. That doesn't work. I do miss Wing Bowl. The city of someone should have taken it over. I'm telling you, I don't know if the title Wing Bowl is, patented or, locked into WIP, but it needs to come back. And I'm telling you, that's what could take trending in the AM and EOP to new heights. I'm telling you, the return. Tell everybody hit up Big Al on every show he's producing, every show he's hosting. Bring Wing Bowl back. I'm telling you. It could happen. Mike Miss still owes me a Flyers jersey for coming up with the right answer. 5 French Flyer goalies. He rejected my Stephanie answer. Wow, that's funny. I like that. If Jacob could bring back Wing Bowl, then we know they are real interest instead of a shell company. No. Don't let Jacob bring it back. We got to bring it back. Absolutely. 100%. But with that being said, guys, I think we'll just wrap it up for the day right there. 2 weeks away from Eagles game 1. I'm excited. Jalen Hurts, first interception. The longest interception-less streak in the history of training camps. Is that the greatest record of all time? Better than Cal Ripken? I don't know. Maybe. Possibly. Phillies, is tonight must win for the Phillies? Maybe. I can't wait. Over and under 1.5. I don't know. I don't know how much Cooper Dejean is going to play, mister. Because he hasn't played football since November in a real game. So I expect them to ease him into it a little bit. I expect them to play 2, 3, 4 series. That's about it, honestly. I'm calling Walter for that one. What? Who? So, Walter. Okay, I got you. Well, yeah, I got you. I would take 4.5 tackles, but I don't think he even get. Yeah, he might get a. I don't think he's going to play a lot. I think it's 3 drives, probably. Something like that. He's not at risk of being cut. He hasn't played football on the field of battle in almost a year. I think they're a little cautious with him. I think they're so locked at cornerback right now, the Eagles, that they can ease Cooper in. But I think Cooper's going to push them to force him onto the field in the regular season. I love it. I love that comment on so many different levels. Anyway, guys, with that being said, we'll wrap up Training the AM right here for the day. We'll be back tomorrow, 8 a.m. again. Don't forget, Brendan Deeg from The Score. Join us at about 9:10 tomorrow morning. We might go a little overtime tomorrow because he's on until 9:30. Then we'll start the wrap-up process. We'll see how that goes. But, yeah, we got to wrap it up. When did I become a degenerate gambler? Oh, like the rest of you. That's what happens. I have that influence on you, Duck. I have to say, Algiers House of Wings. Never heard of it. Never heard of Sari, PA either. So, that's right. We'll end that right there. Guys, thank you all very much. Great show today. Great comments. Guys, if you're watching this on replay, like, share, subscribe, follow, retweet it. Do whatever you can. We're here live Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9:30. But there's a great channel with a lot of great shows, 30-plus shows a week. Guys, everybody, stay locked in. We'll be back tomorrow, 8 a.m. Ring the bell, Phillies. Eagles Nation, go Birds. And as always, guys, bubbles up to you today.